guys, welcome back to today's video. And in this today's video, it's gonna be a brand new political discussion based video. Talk about an important political issue, which is a proposition that will be on the ballot in California in 2024, in which California voters will vote to make changes to a previous proposition which was approved by California voters in 2014. And this proposition that we are voting on is Proposition 36, which is the Drug and Theft Crime Penalties and Treatment Mandated Felonies Initiative. What this Proposition 36 would do, if you do vote yes on this initiative, is that you support making changes to Prop 47 that was approved in 2014, which would include classifying certain drug offenses as treatment mandated felonies, increasing penalties for certain drug crimes by increasing sentence lengths and levels of crime, requiring courts to warn individuals convicted of distributing illegal drugs of their potential future criminal liability if they distribute deadly drugs like fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine, and increasing sentences for theft based on the value of the property stolen. And that is exactly what Prop 36 would do, is that it would reverse a lot of what Prop 47 did. But before I go into a little bit of detail before I go into the people who are supporting this proposition and the people who oppose this initiative, and even before I share my opinion of where I stand on this issue, and also going into greater detail of the fiscal costs of if Prop 36 is passed this year, let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? So, back in 2014, back in the month and year of November 4th of 2014, California voters passed Prop 47. So what Prop 47 did is that it reclassified some felonies to misdemeanors. It also changed the law that some low-level non-violent felonies can only be charged as misdemeanors for most people. So what it did was, the biggest reason of why Prop 47 was passed and why it was ultimately implemented was due to a Supreme Court ruling on March was due to a U.S. Supreme Court decision in May of 2011, which upheld the decision against the state of California, which mandated that California would require that California to reduce its prison population to avoid overcrowding. And this was caused by a federal 3-judge panel which ordered every state prison in the Golden State to reduce its prison population to 137.5% of its design capacity within 2 years. Mainly because back in 2010, the state prison were functioning at over 180% capacity, which meant they were holding about 34,000 inmates over the limit established by the federal court. So the biggest reason why Prop 47 was passed back in 2014 by California voters was in part because of a court ruling, mainly because the court ordered that every state prison in California has to be reduced. in which a lot of low-level inmates should be released from prison to avoid overcrowding within our prison walls. And that is exactly why Prop 47 happened, and why Prop 47 happened. It was to tackle the issue of mass incarceration, which is something the United States needs to deal with now. I believe the old way of doing crime is causing mass incarceration, in which we're overcrowding our prison population. And then that is exactly what, but not to get off topic here, that is exactly what Prop 47 did. It was aimed to reducing the prison population and moving away from mass punishment and mass criminalization. And that is what Prop 36 wants to go back to. It wants to go back to a time of mass incarceration in which it would make changes to Prop 47. And that is exactly what Prop 36 would do. It would make changes by increasing punishment for some theft and drug-related crimes. It would turn some misdemeanors into felonies. For example, currently, theft items worth $950 or less is generally a misdemeanor. Prop 36 makes this crime a felony if the person has 2 or more past convictions for certain theft crimes, such as shoplifting, burglary, or carjacking. The sentence would be up to 3 years in county jail or state prison. These changes undo some of the punishment reductions in Prop 47. It would also lengthen some felony sentences, which means Prop 36 would allow felony sentences for theft or damage of property to be lengthened by up to 3 years if 3 or more people committed the crime together. It would also require some felonies to be served in prison. For example, as discussed above, sentences for selling certain drugs such as fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, or methamphetamine can be lengthened based on the amount sold. Currently, these sentences are served in county jail or state prison depending on the person's criminal history. Prop 36 generally requires these sentences be served in prison. And the ultimate argument that Prop 36 is doing is that it's going to reverse a lot of the changes that Prop 47 did. Prop 36, if you vote yes on this initiative this year, California, you are essentially saying you are going back to an era of overcrowding in the prisons. You're going back to an era of mass incarceration where the California prison population was over capacity in 2010. That's what you're essentially voting yes for. You're essentially voting yes for mass incarceration. And that is what Prop 36 would do if passed by a majority of California voters. If passed in 2024. So in which it would make changes to what Prop 47 did. So let's go into the supporters behind Prop 47. So the people behind the Yes on 36 campaign, Californians for Safer Communities, are the people that are behind this initiative, leading for success, leading this campaign to ensure that this initiative passes. The people behind Yes on 36 would be people that would include State Representative Vince Fong, San Francisco Mayor London Breed, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria, San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, Sacramento County District Attorney Thean Ho, Elk Grove Mayor Bobby Singh Allen. The California Republican Party is for it. Several corporations are for it, including Target, Walmart, Walgreens. Several unions are for it. The California District Attorneys Association Union is for it. The California Police Chiefs Association is for it. The California Retail Association Union is for it, and so forth. And there are several organizations that are for it. The California Business Roundtable Association are for it. The California Correctional Peace Officer Association are for it. The California Grocer Association are for it. American Petroleum and Convenience Store Associations are for it. And a lot of the argument that why they are advocating for why they are supporting the Yes on 36 initiative is in part because they want to crack down on fentanyl users. They want to crack down on they want to tackle the chronic retail theft that we are seeing on the news, in which it hurts our retailer. In which that level of theft is hurting our retailers, our workers, and also our cities. And they believe that it would ultimately make a meaningful difference for our cities. And also, and as I quote Greg Totten, the Chief Executive Officer for the California District Attorneys Association, and he lays out a good explanation of why he is for Prop 30, of why he's for Prop 36. And as I quote Greg Totten here, we continue to see an outcry of overwhelming support from Californians of every political affiliation and geographic region across the state, demanding for change that will improve community safety and hold repeat offenders of theft and serious drug crimes, including those involving fentanyl, accountable. Californians want to feel safe in their neighborhoods, and when they shop, and this initiative amends Prop 47 to effectively hold individuals accountable for repeat crimes of theft and serious drugs like fentanyl, while making sure individuals receive and complete drug and mental health treatment they need. So this overall sums up why these people are for Prop 36. It's to hold repeat offenders accountable, people who are engaging in drug-related offenses, and also retail theft. And also the fact that he wants to make Californians feel safer. He wants every Californian to live in a safer community. Honestly, I completely understand that. I 100% understand that argument of why I understand that argument. Everyone deserves the right to live in a safer community. Everyone deserves that right. Everyone deserves that right. Everyone deserves to live in a safer community in which they are free to live their lives the way they see fit. And I completely understand that argument. So that is some of the supporters behind Prop 30 some of there are, and that is some of the supporters who are behind in support of Prop 36. So let's go into some of the opposition people that are opposing Prop 36, in which they are urging you to vote no, mainly in part because what they're saying is that it would is that it is essentially a prison spending scam, and they're telling you to say no to prison spending. It is a scam to encourage mass incarceration. So some of the supporters not the supporters, the people, the opponents behind Prop 36 are Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas. The California Democratic Party is against it. Assembly member Speaker Robert Rivas is against it, as I said before. Governor Gavin Newsom is against it. The ACLU of Northern California is against it. The Action for Safety and Justice is against it. The Anti-Recidivism Coalition is against it. Civil Rights Corps is against it. Disability Rights California is against it. So, and the main argument of why even some Democrats are against Prop 36, and why they're leading and why they're part of the campaign to urge California voters to vote no on Prop 36, is in part because they believe Prop 36 would take us back to a time of mass incarceration. It would take us back to a time when California's prison population was over capacity, where our prisons are overcrowded. And that's what they fear. It would take us back to a time of mass incarceration. And as I quote the Vera Institute of Justice, first, Prop 36 would reverse the state's gain in reducing the dangerous, racially unequal, and unconstitutionally crowded prison population. Since 2014, California's prison population has dropped 28% with reduced racial disparities. Second, it would dry up funding for much needed services, including employment assistance for those coming out of jail, victim services, and housing. Finally, it risks making California less safe, as programs funded by Prop 47 have reduced recidivism without increasing violent crime. So the argument that they're making here is Prop 47 made huge gains in reducing the prison population in California, in which the prison population dropped 28% with reduced racial disparities. And what they're saying here is that Prop 36 would reverse a lot of that state's gain, would reverse a lot of the gains we made in combating mass incarceration, in reducing the prison population. And what they're saying here, Prop 36 would take us back to a time of mass incarceration. It would take us back to a time of when the prison population is overcrowded, and also Prop 36 would also dry up funding for much needed services, including employment assistance for formerly incarcerated individuals. It would also dry up funding for victim services and housing. And in all this would risk making California less safe. And would risk making California less safe. And it's exactly why people such as the Vera Institute of Justice is against Prop 36. Is against Prop 36. So, what is my overall opinion around this topic? Well, as you may know, in my last two videos, where one of them I talked about another ballot initiative, in which there's another initiative that would ultimately end slavery once and for all within the justice system. And another video talked about how California is applying the Norwegian prison model built on the principle of rehabilitation and restorative justice in helping to turn incarcerated individuals into better neighbors for society, to ultimately reduce the reoffense rates and to most notably ensure that they're not coming back to prison. And when they're not coming back to prison, then that means less taxes we would have to pay for them in the long run, in which we can keep more money in our pockets. It could also mean more money we can use for other government services, in which every Californian would be better off. My overall opinion on Prop 36 is I'm completely against this amendment. I will be voting no on Prop 36 on November 5th of 2024. Mainly because I believe the old way of doing crime, it's not working anymore. The tactics and strategies that we use, this tough on crime rhetoric that we used to use in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, it's no longer working anymore. It created another problem in which we're dealing with mass incarceration. It's one of the reasons why the United States is 20% of the world's prisoners. It's why the United States incarcerates more people than any other country on the face of this planet. And it's why I'm against Prop 36 and will be voting no on November 5th of 2024. And I strongly urge you to vote down this initiative. Vote it down, California. Vote no on Prop 36. I believe it's time for a change. Prop 36 is the old way of doing crime. It's the old way of tough on crime rhetoric. The rhetoric that I don't want to go back to. And I know people such as the Vera Institute of Justice and people such as and also the ACLU of Northern California and people such as Eric Harris, they don't want to go back to a time of mass incarceration. And it's why they are against Prop 36 and why they're leading the no vote campaign. Vote it down, California. Let's move forward. I don't want to go back. We're not going back. We are not going back. It's time for a new mindset. It's time for a new vision of public safety. It's time we change our way of thinking of how we address crime, in which we are no longer governed by our emotions. We're no longer governed by rage. We are making decisions based on facts, based on statistics, and based on reason. From rage to reason. Why we need laws, why we need criminal justice laws based on facts and not fear. Based on facts and not fear. And it's exactly why I'm against Prop 36. We need to do more to lower the prison population. We need to do more. We need to invest more in rehabilitation, in restorative justice, in giving incarcerated individuals voting rights to help make them into better citizens for our society. And it's exactly why I am against Prop 36. Because overall, Prop 30, a lot of the fiscal impacts behind Prop 36 is that it would increase the state prison population. It would also increase state court workloads, in which it would lead to, in which we would have to pay more for taxes. We would have to pay more for the prison to keep people behind bars. We would have to, our taxes would go up. It would because we would see an increase in cost within our state's criminal justice system. And it's exactly why I am against Prop 36. And the people that are, and while I respect the people behind the yes campaign on 36, while I understand and respect their opinions, because they do have a First Amendment right to express their opinions and to express of why they support this initiative, I just disagree with it. I disagree with their arguments here. You see, what they don't understand is crime has been steadily declining over the years. Crime has been relatively down, actually. Crime has been at an all-time low. You see, throughout property crime peaked at 6,881 in 1988, and it slowly declined, and it slowly dropped in 84. It went up a little bit in 86, dropped in 87, went up in 89, started to go, and then it started to go slowly down, and it had a massive drop in 1999. It went up a little bit in 2004, and it went down a little bit in 2011, went up in 2012, went down in 2014, went a little bit up in 2015, and it slowly went down in 2020. And it kind of went up a little bit in 2022 and 2023, and it's going a little bit down actually in 2023 actually. But the overall point that I'm making here is that crime is well below the peak of the past 5 decades. It is slowly, it is on the decline. The crime rates are extremely low in California, in which there is no need for this ineffective and expensive proposition, and why I urge you to vote no. Crime is steadily on the decline. Don't be fooled by what Fox News is telling you. Don't be fooled, and don't rule by fear or emotions. Don't make your decisions on emotions and fear. I know I do, because as an introvert, I'm fearful of talking to people in life. That's not healthy. It's not healthy for me, because human beings are supposed to be social creatures. Let's not rule by fear. Let's rule based on facts, based on statistics, based on reason. And the facts say is that crime has been steadily declining. It's extreme. The crime rates are low. Crime has been steadily declining. But our prison population is still high, and we need to lower the prison population rather than address the crime rates, because crime is low. It's time to address mass incarceration. It's time to address it, because over 1.9 million people are in a state, federal, local, juvenile correction facility, immigration detention facility, and also Indian Country Jail. There are more people incarcerated than crimes being committed in California. Crime has been steadily declining. It makes no sense to pass Prop 36, and it's why I urge you to vote no. And lastly, according to some data, in 2023, there were only 45 homicide cases in the city of San Diego, which means that there has been a 13.5% decrease in homicide cases from the previous year. Sexual assault in San Diego is also down. Sexual assault also went down by 16.2% in San Diego. And also in San Francisco, property crime is down by 32%. Violent crime is also down by 14%. In Los Angeles, violent crime also seems to be lowering in Los Angeles, having decreased by 7% when compared to the same period last year in 2023. However, there has been unfortunately been a 9% increase in homicides. But overall, the argument that I'm making here is crime has been steadily declining. There's no reason why we need to incarcerate people, why we need to increase prison sentences. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for that at all. And it's why I urge you to vote no on Prop 36. Vote it down, California. Vote it down. It's time we think logically. It's time we make decisions based on facts. It's time we create laws based on what the data is telling us. And the data is telling us that we need to decrease our prison population. We need to combat mass incarceration over the rising crime rates. And only then can we truly reimagine a more safer community for all Californians. It's time for a new vision, California. It's time we finally live up to our founders' ideals in the United States Constitution. And as it says in the 8th Amendment to the United States Constitution, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Vote no on Prop 36, California. Vote no, and let's reimagine our justice system. Let's reimagine our crime laws. Let's reimagine the way we think about incarcerating people, human beings that did wrong. Let's turn them into better neighbors. And together, we can reimagine a more safer world for all Californians. But overall, you guys, share your opinions in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree with me? Share your opinions in the comment section below. But please be very civil and respectful to those that disagree or agree with my opinion, or even agree with or disagree with you. But don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. And until next time, guys, this is the Young Centrist, and I am out.